Hello there, my name's Scott and today I'm going to be doing a review on some of the drip tips and a flow tip which I received from www.siam-mods.com. Before I start, I must point out I did receive them free of charge for the purpose of conducting a review. My opinion of the product remains true, honest and accurate as always. Okay, so now before going to the close-up shots, I just want to point out that the flow tip is a like a prototype model. It's not the actual sort of finished product as such, so you know, whatever findings I show you in the close-up shots, you know, take them with a pinch of salt because it is only a prototype which they have asked me to include in the review. Okay, this is going to be a very nice and short video, so let's crack on and show them in a little bit more detail. Okay, so here we have the full range of the stainless steel drip tips from Siam Mods, but this one on the end here is the flow tip. So I'll just sort of show you this one quickly. Now I must point out that this is a prototype version, so it's not the full retail version. So I really must sort of stress that point here. So whatever I say about it, you know, take it with a pinch of salt and wait until we see some sort of reviews on the full retail version before sort of making any judgments basically. But they did ask me to include it in the review, so also I'm going to give you my my honest thoughts about it. Now the idea is that you know, you attach this into your 510 atomizer, your 510 cartomizer, etc., and then you can use it to adjust the airflow. Now in its position here, it's basically sort of fully open, so you can sort of, you know, take quite an airy sort of drag, and then as you unscrew it, it reaches this position, and then like basically that sort of cuts off the airflow, and anywhere in between those 2 points should be sort of adjusting the airflow basically. But for me, it's just not working that way. It literally is a case of it's either open or it's closed. And so I know I can sort of have it in this position here where it's sort of fully open. I can be taking an inhale and I can actually unscrew this while I'm inhaling, and the airflow doesn't change at all until it reaches its sort of fully closed position, and then obviously you can't sort of take any sort of drag off it whatsoever then. So like I said, it is just a prototype version, so hopefully like the full retail version is going to be sort of tinkered with, and it will sort of work as intended. You know, so like I said, you know, just take my what I say on it with a pinch of salt basically. Okay, so let's get on to the actual drip tips though. Now I will say all these are very nicely machined, like literally are sort of no sort of verging on perfection really. They're very nicely engineered. This one I believe is called the straight, and as you can see it's just a nice sort of straight drip tip. Now this one here is quite a popular shape these days. It's known as like on other websites as like a Ming vase, but I think they called it the bowling or something like that. And again, I've not seen a stainless steel one, so it is a very nice drip tip there. Next one is the unsurprisingly called the cube, because obviously shaped like a cube, and not my favourite one out of the bunch if I'm totally honest, but you know, it is an interesting looking drip tip. You then have this one which I believe is called the Ripple, and again it's another very sort of unusual design. Not seen anything sort of quite like this, especially like made in the stainless steel, but again very nicely engineered. Now this next one, I'm not too sure what the actual name of this one is, but this one is similar to the like the bowling, apart from it's not got the ball there, and it is just sort of like a flat at the end there. And the reason why this is a really nice one is because if you've got something like the Little Mama, where you've got the cartomizer tank can sort of slide up and down, if you put one of these on there like so, then of course the actual base of the cartomizer is a lot wider than the hull, and it fits in there nice. It just fits on there, and it keeps that tank really nicely firmly in place. And you know, just also, you know, it looks a nuts as well. But my favourite out of the bunch is definitely this one here, which I believe is called slotted or something like that. A very unusual design. It looks fantastic, very nicely crafted again. And you know, when you put it on the you know, Little Mama, it does still sort of prevent it from sort of sliding up, but it just looks the absolute bee's knees, I think. Very sort of futuristic style, sort of vaping look to it, and you know, I really love it. Okay, so those are the stainless steel drip tips and the flow tip. So there's not a great deal else I can sort of tell you about it. You know, they are just sort of drip tips at the end of the day. I'll give you a very sort of quick demonstration of them in action. So let's go and have a look. Okay, so they are the very nice looking new drip tips from Cyan Mods, as well as that the sort of prototype flow tip. Okay, so I will give you a very sort of quick demonstration of one of the drip tips in action, but no, it doesn't really sort of play any sort of part in your actual sort of vaping experience. Drip tips, as I'm sure most of you know, they're basically just designed to sort of go on like a regular sort of atomizer, and then you take your e-liquid, drip it down the hole, and then you have a bit of a vape. Now, I don't do any sort of direct dripping these days. I've never really been into direct dripping, to be quite honest. Instead, I use the drip tips just to act as a mouthpiece when I'm using things like the Lil Mama tank, which is what I've got here. I'm using it with that my favourite drip tip out of the lot. Hopefully you can see there, that is a really smart looking setup in my opinion anyway. I think with the cube, the Lil Mama tank and that rather groovy drip tip, that is a blinding combination. Okay, so like I said, I'll give you a quick toke. And there you go. So what I'll do there, concentrate more on, I suppose, is the flow tip. So I'm just going to quickly swap that over. Now, like I said, no, this is just a prototype. You know, so don't be sort of too blown away or disappointed with what I'm going to sort of say here, because obviously the actual main sort of, once it goes into sort of production, will probably be quite a bit different. Now, obviously, the idea of the flow tip is that you can use it with your cartomizers or your tanks like this, and actually adjust the amount of sort of draw you get basically. So if you like a nice sort of tight draw, you can adjust it that way. If you like a nice sort of airy draw, again you can adjust it that way. So at the moment this is in its open position. And it still feels quite a tight draw like that, to be quite honest. So I'll put it all up. If I unscrew it all the way then, I don't do it too much, if I don't too much. Well, that's completely sort of closed now, so if I do it sort of a little bit less. So that's just not quite sort of fully closed. It's almost impossible. Almost impossible. So, as you can probably tell from there, for me, it's a case of it's either open or it's closed. There is no sort of middle ground. For whatever reason, like I said, this is just a prototype. But for me at the moment, I've got to have it sort of basically in its sort of fully open position to be able to get a drag out of it. And even then, it is sort of a fairly tight drag. And as soon as you start unscrewing it, then basically it just sort of cuts off the whole sort of air supply, basically, or airflow, should I say. So probably need to go back to the drawing board with this particular one at the moment, but be interesting to see how like the full production sort of scale versions of the flow tip come out. Like the idea of it is a great idea, very sort of innovative, but for the one that I've got here, it just you're better off with a drip tip, to be honest, you know, because it doesn't really sort of work. But like I said, no, this is just a prototype, and maybe, you know, in the future, once they've got the you know, they've done their tinkering and it's working properly, then I'll maybe do another review, and hopefully things have been sorted out by them. But don't worry about the flow tip, but the drip tips look absolutely fantastic, though, in my opinion. Anyway, guys, if you fancy trying some of them out for yourself, go along to www.cyan-mods.com. Thank you very much for watching, and also come along and visit my website at www.e-cig-reviews.com. That's e-cig-reviews.com. Cheers, guys. Happy vaping. See you later.